I'm gonna teach you exactly how to get a credit limit increase on your Capital One credit card with no hard inquiry ever. A lot of people don't understand how valuable it is to have Capital One on your credit profile. A lot of people see this specific card right here, the Capital One Platinum card, and they get it when they first start getting credit or they're rebuilding and they say, oh my God, this is the worst credit card of all time. And you hear a lot of creators and a lot of YouTubers say the exact same thing. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now that this in fact is one of my oldest cards ever, the Capital One Platinum card. So I've been through everything with this credit card to try to get them to raise the credit limit and give me my deposit back. And I have in fact been successful doing this. So if you have the Capital One Platinum card, no, it's not a scam. In fact, you have beaten the game. Just as my friend Just Jay Woodfin has said, once you have Capital One on your credit report, you are officially in the credit game because now you have one of the top 5 banks on your credit reports, and that's exactly what we want. Before I get into this video and I give you all this sauce for free, I want to give a special shout out to all my beasters out there that signed up for Dispute Beast and are working hard to fix their credit using the most advanced DIY credit repair software ever created that anyone can use. If you need to fix your credit, link is gonna be in the description. We want to keep all the crappy credit cards off our credit profile, like the First Premiers, the Credit Ones, the Open Skies. Those are all trash. They tell a story to a lender that we don't want them to know about. We want to have the top 5 best banks on our credit reports, as many of those as possible. And I'm talking about Capital One, Chase Bank, American Express, Discover Bank, and Citibank. Because this tells lenders that you are in fact a responsible borrower, because these big banks want to give you credit cards. And that's why it is okay to have this specific credit card on your credit profile. There's nothing wrong with the Platinum credit card with Capital One, but it is a crappy credit card, okay? I know that sounds crazy when I say it, so no, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's a crappy credit card. It's a crappy credit card because you have to use the card and pay it off in full. And a lot of times when people get this credit card, it's a starter card, or it's a card that they give you when you're rebuilding your credit because you went through a financial hardship and you destroyed your credit. You have to start somewhere, and Capital One is giving you the opportunity, but you're doing everything wrong. And I'm going to tell you everything that you need to do right, because I've had this credit card since I was about 26, 27 years old, and it's one of my oldest credit cards. But again, like I said, I made all of the wrong mistakes. Mistake number 1 is I wasn't using the card very much. I was maybe using 10 bucks, maybe 15 bucks. And then I was shocked when Capital One didn't want to increase my credit limit. I'm like, but why? I'm not using very much of the card. Why won't you give me more money? Remember this. This is a golden rule with any credit card. If you're not using the money, why would they want to give you more money? If they give me the money and I'm actually using the money and then I'm paying it back in full, they're gonna give me more money. But if you're the person out there who's barely using a credit card and you actually carry a balance of $10 when you only spent $10, then guess what? The bank is not going to be incentivized to give you more money because 1, you're not paying off the credit card in full, and 2, you're just not using the money. And no, this doesn't mean go out there and buy yourself some Louis Vuitton or some nice shiny Jordans that you've been wanting for the longest time and put yourself in debt. No, credit cards are not meant to be an extension of you. They're actually meant to help you show lenders that you are a responsible borrower. So you want to get another credit card, you want to buy a car, you want to buy a home. This shows that you always pay back in full and on time. So just use your credit card for everyday spending. So as an example, you got to put gas in your car, right? It has to run. So use your credit card, put the gas on your credit card, then pay the card off in a few days and you're done. Or you can also use it for your car insurance. Pay your car insurance, have it on auto payment, and then have it actually paid off in a few days, and you're done. The same thing with your Hulu, Netflix, any of your subscription payments. You can put them on your credit card and pay them off in full every single month. You do not have to carry a balance. All these financial gurus out there are telling you, oh no, you gotta carry a balance. Why are we teaching people to pay interest? Let's stop the nonsense and teach people how to not pay interest and never carry balance so we never get in debt. And here's the biggest secret that Capital One wants to see from you. They want you to use the credit card, and then learn your statement closing date. Let's say hypothetically, your statement closing date is the 20th. Now you wanna make sure that you pay off the credit card in full 2 days before your statement closing date. So if it's the 20th, we're gonna pay it on the 18th. And then once my statement closing date hits on the 20th, we stop using credit card, and we do not use a credit card for up to 7 days, because the credit card company has 3 to 7 days to report your balance to the credit reporting agencies. And once they do that, then it's going to report a balance. The more that you use your credit card with Capital One and you don't report a balance, this is exactly what Capital One wants to see. Because remember, Capital One is the largest subprime lender in the United States, meaning they're used to people defaulting on their credit cards. They're used to people not paying on time. They're used to people carrying balances. They want to see people that don't carry balances. What I'm teaching you right here, you apply this to every single credit card company and you're going to be successful with them. They're going to be willing to give you more money, but you have to use it responsibly and pay it off in full every single month. Because as a great example, look at it like this. If you borrow 20 bucks from your cousin Day Day, and then cousin Day Day comes up to you in a week after he owes you and says, hey man, listen, can I just give you 10, but you let me get another 10? I mean, are you cool with that? You're gonna be like, hell no, pay me all my money back, bro. It's the same thing that the bank wants. The bank wants you to pay all the money back, and then they're gonna give you more money. That's what a credit card is all about. Use it and pay it back. Use it and pay it back, and it just keeps revolving, and the credit limit keeps growing the more that you do that. Last part's the most important. Now we're going to go into the Capital One app, and we only want to ask for a credit limit increase inside the Capital One app. Never call them, because you will get a hard inquiry if you do it over the phone. Do it inside the app. It is very simple. I'm gonna walk you right through it right now. But before we do it, understand, if you're carrying a large balance, you wanna chip away at that balance and get that balance down as much as you can. If you can get it all the way down to 0 before you request a credit limit increase, that is ideal. So let's say, for instance, you pay off your credit card today, wait for it to post in 3 to 5 business days to show that you're not carrying a balance, because if you pay it right now and then you ask for a credit limit increase, it may not go through because the system has not processed that clear and has not cleared up that balance, sorry. So understand, pay it off as much as you possibly can, all the way down to 0 if you can, or pay off as much as you can, let it report in 3 to 5 business days, and then come back into the app and request a credit limit increase, because we want to increase the chances that they're actually going to increase the limit. Remember, you're asking cousin Day Day for more money and you owe him money. We don't want to do that. All right, so now we're going to do our credit limit increase. Now remember, this applies to any Capital One credit card, not just the Platinum card, but all of them. Never ever, I'm gonna repeat this again, never ever call them for a credit limit increase, only do it inside the app. So now let's get into it. First, we wanna choose whatever specific credit card that we are going to ask for a credit limit increase. So in this one, we're gonna do the Quicksilver One card that I have a $2,500 credit limit on. Now, once you click on that card, you're going to click on the very bottom right corner that says Profile. Click on that. Next up, you're going to see Account Features and Settings. Now we want to click on that next. Now, after that, you're going to choose Request a Credit Limit Increase, because of course that's what we want to do. Next, it's going to ask you if you're employed, self-employed. Listen, there's a big argument about this the last time I did this, and I'm telling you right now, you always want to put that you are employed, because if you put that you're self-employed, it can cause you to have a financial review, and you don't want that noise with anybody, because if you are a business owner, you should be paying yourself and you should be an employee of your company, technically, as I am. Depends on how your company is set up, but I'm just telling you, you do whatever you want at the end of the day, but I'm just telling you, you don't want that mess, and you don't want your credit reports to show that you are self-employed anywhere, because whatever you put on this application is what goes to the credit reporting agencies. Remember that anytime you put it on an application, they're saving it in their data and in their databases to know exactly how you are employed. So choose employed. Now, if you are retired, you have to understand It may trigger also something else unless you have a top tier credit score. It doesn't matter. But if you don't have a great credit score and you choose retired or unemployed, I mean, let's be honest. What do you think they're going to say? This person has no money. Next, it's going to ask you what your occupation is. Make sure you fill it out properly. Next, it's going to ask you what your rent or mortgage payment is. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, I live with my parents. What should I put? Just put $100, not a big deal. Or you can put $25 or $50. If you're living with somebody else, that doesn't matter. Now, next up is your monthly spend with credit cards. Now, this can play a role, but not really that serious. So I usually put like anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. That's very important to understand that. And when it asks you for your income, do not lie on how much you're actually making on your income, and do not put some obscene amount that you cannot prove. Even if you are making $250,000, $300,000, or $600,000 a year, you want to put that you're making a good, decent amount. So you want to start off low so you can have more ways to increase your credit limit. Because if you tell them you're making $300,000 a year, guess what? Next time you ask for a credit limit increase, you're gonna be like, oh, I make $320,000. I mean, let's be honest with each other. But if you put on your application, you're making $60,000 or $80,000, you start at that point, then guess what? Now you can incrementally increase yourself another $25,000. I just got a raise. In 6 months or a year, you can request another credit limit increase and put a different amount. But if you start at a large amount, you don't have very much more room to grow. And now once you fill that all out, you just slide the request and it's going to tell you instantly if you have been approved for a credit limit increase, and it's going to ask you if you would like to actually accept it. Or if you didn't get approved, don't stress, don't freak out. Work on how you're using your credit card and how you're paying it off in full. Remember, because that's the key. And then you can come back and you can do this inside of the app. I would recommend every 6 months or at least a minimum of once a year. And that's exactly how you do a credit limit increase with any Capital One credit card with no hard inquiry. I hope you enjoyed this video. We covered a big one on how to get a credit limit increase with Capital One and how they are important to have on your credit report if you do actually have them. Make sure that you watch this next video because it is about American Express and how to 6x, 10x your credit limit possibly if you have a credit card with American Express. Now, if you felt that I brought you some value in this video, make sure that you don't forget and subscribe to increase your credit score.